Welcome to part 3 of evaluating visual design. Last time we talked about how pipes were used as a bold highlight to draw attention to a natural shortcut in the level. Today we are moving beyond that to discuss something crucial to any good game: level design and flow. Let's take this one area that I find to be badly designed. There are a few issues with this level. 1. It feels too claustrophobic. The player feels confined, and that restricts the sense of freedom you want in a parkour game. 2. The direction is unclear. Where should the player be heading? 3. The tutorial messages introduce 2 new mechanics: wall running and sliding. But how could we introduce these naturally without relying on text pop-ups? Quick intermission. If you're enjoying the video, remember to subscribe, comment and give a like. Now let's get back to the video. Let's tackle the first issue: claustrophobia. The building feels too close together, so the player doesn't have enough space to breathe or explore. What if we simply move the buildings further apart? It maintains the level's core design, but gives the player more room to move. What do you think? Personally, I think it already feels much better. This change opens up the level and makes it more enjoyable to just be in. Now, on to the second issue: guiding the player. Right now, it might be unclear where they should go. The level design intends for them to wall run up the piping, but that might not be immediately obvious without a tutorial message. One way to guide the player is through framing, designing the level so that it subconsciously points the player in the right direction. This can be done by blocking paths or using objects to lead the eye naturally toward the next move. In this case, we already do this by placing the piping in front of the start very prominently, but it's still a bit unclear what this means from the player's perspective because they don't know that they can wall run up yet. Arguably, you might say that players already know this is a parkour game and can assume they have the ability to perform these actions. The real issue is that they don't know what objects can be used for those actions, so after all, maybe some form of text or guidance is still necessary. However, we'll only know for sure once we get some players to test it out. For example, in Mirror's Edge, they use red highlights on key objects to guide the player. This method is less subtle, yet effective because it draws attention without needing text prompts. Maybe you could try something similar by marking the wall-runnable objects or, in general, interactable objects with a distinct color, texture or effect. What color would make sense in our environment? Should it be subtle or bold? How does it look? Could the player, considering the shape and highlight effect, tell that this can possibly be used to wall run, or is it still quite ambiguous? What do you think? Please leave a comment below. Something we can learn from Mirror's Edge is how they sometimes also struggled with framing, even though sometimes getting it correct. While their red highlights were effective, often players would have to move their camera dramatically to find the next objective by placing the guide outside of the camera view, or it's unclear what the guide is even supposed to be. This causes unnecessary confusion and often breaks the flow, which is something we definitely want to avoid. Our goal is to ensure each jump or parkour section leads naturally into the next, allowing players to move fluidly throughout the environment without ever stopping. In our case, I believe the framing is strong after the start wall run. It feels intuitive. The highlight helps guide the players as they progress further. However, for first-time players, the beginning might still pose some problems. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your ideas on how we could guide the player without using tutorials. What subtle visual cues do you think would help? Should we test different colors for highlights? Or maybe we just need to redesign the whole level in this example? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing your suggestions. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for part 4 as we continue evolving level design and art direction. See you next time.